Hey YouTube, we are 1 week away from the league season turnover, and with that there is potentially some move updates. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go over what moves sort of need to happen, what I want to happen, what I think can happen, and the worst case scenario. And let's just start with the worst case scenario because it's top of mind and I'm very nervous about it. For those of you who remember, last year at this time during the league turnover, Niantic came out and said, we are not updating any moves because of the Play Pokemon Championship, and we don't want it to change the outcome quality of the game or whatever BS they spewed. So for those of you who are keeping track, the championship to the Play Pokemon is August, which falls right in the middle of this 3-month period. So my worst case scenario is that they are going to just say the same thing. It's a cop-out. Because they change it mid-season. I remember that the wing attack buff happened less than a week before the Toronto regionals, and that completely changed everything. It was the first regional after that wing attack buff, and it changed everything. So for them just to come out and say oh, we can't do it because of the championships, that's BS. You've done it mid-season, that's fine. But it's a precedent in the past that they've said we're not doing it because we're not doing it because of the championship. The championship is August 5th or 12th, somewhere around there. So they could theoretically just say, no, we're not doing it this time. We'll do it next time. If that's the case, I don't know what to do with this channel. I don't know what's going to happen. It's just going to be sort of like an off summer. I'll keep trying to put out videos and stuff, but who knows? We're going to have to start getting creative because this game is very stale. So what needs to happen? So what needs to happen is you need a change in specifically the Ultra League is not terrible, quite honestly. It's the Great League that's very bad. And the Great League is dominated, and you can see it in the Play Pokemon Championships. It's dominated by basically 6 Pokemon. Some sort of Stunfisk Registeel as a steal. You have your Medicham as your best counter user. You have the Owl as one of the hardest answers there. Trevenant's still sort of around, but the Owls kind of killed it. Bastion will kind of loop in with Stunfisk and Registeel. You have Lanturn as the biggest answer to the Owl, and those are the main 4 to 5. You're starting seeing them more see A9 tails and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's just these 5 that are taking it over. So it needs to be addressed. How do you address that? You address it in one of 2 ways. You either nerf these moves for these Pokemon, or you buff others, right? So let's just start with these Pokemon potential nerfs. They nerf Zap Cannon just to make sure that the super effective, it doesn't drop your attack 100%. It's now a 6-7% chance. Otherwise, they've left it pretty strong. I think the Regis are just so dominant in Great League and Ultra League. Everyone and Lock On. If we go to the PvP fast moves here, Lock On is absolutely 0 power, but it's one of the quickest energies. So you basically just get 10 energy per second or something like that, right? So it's super fast charging, and that's why everyone really hates Registeel. So a Lock On nerf is one option here. Galarian Stunfisk and Swampert, because Swampert's top 10 ranked in every single league that it's eligible for. And Stunfisk is pretty high up there. And it's because of Mudshot. Mudshot is, again, one of the best fast moves here. Here you are here. Not a lot of power, but a ton of energy per second. 9 energy per second. And a little more power than Lock-On. Lock-On's 1. This is 3. So you're getting a little bit of hit with that Mudshot. But for most, it's just fast charging. So if you want to take these 2 down a bit, you nerf Mudshot. There is, I think you can do at Mudshots. Someone told me at Mudshot. Yeah, so there are other Pokemon that get hit with this, right? If you do nerf Mudshot, it means all these other Pokemon are going to be worse. Whiscash has some play, especially here. Diggersby, a lot of people use that. Quagsire is kind of meh. Politoed has already been hurt with the Weather Ball nerf in the past. The other Stunfisk, and Excadrill, even though it's not used here, is one of your best answers in Master League. So then you're leaving Dialga a little more unchecked in Master League, right? So Mudshot, Nerf, although in theory, like, works fine, just taking Stunfisk and Swampert down a bit, you have to think about the other effects that it's going to have. So that's how you deal with that. Medicham is an interesting one because I say you cannot nerf counter because there's so many other Pokemon that it would just like destroy. So it's not just Medicham that's dominate, right? It's like Scrap, you need that for Ultra League. Obstagoon for Ultra League. Buzzhole, Machamp is sort of niche. Defense Deoxys would get taken down to ping. Vigoroth, which again, if you use it in the cup there, who cares about Vigoroth being taken down? But in open, it's just only rate 30. Surfetch'd, Primeape, Hitmontop, and Blaziken, and Escav, and Toxicroak, and there's so many Pokemon that have counter that if you take some of these Pokemon like Primeape and Hitmontop and Blaziken, you can use, but they're not like overpowering by any like sense. So you can't really just nerf counter, in my opinion. And the thing is, it has Ice Punch, and a lot of people, and when we get to the charge moves, is how do you change the meta? You buff the punches. You buff Ice Punch, you buff Thunder Punch and stuff like that, so that you have like a move that can hit the Owl and others harder. And if you buff Ice Punch, how does a Medicham that's already so dominant become even better? And I think it's you nerf Psychic. One of its toughest things is like counter Ice Punch is whatever, but being able to land a super effective Psychic so quickly with the counter damage is a lot. And I was thinking about that. There's not a ton of Pokemon that have Psychic charge moves, right? So you Medicham, but then when you actually go to like the next Pokemon that actually has Psychic as its charge moves, no. Victini at 124. Right? There's not a lot of Pokemon that actually runs an Aromatisse at one. Like, there's not a ton of Pokemon that actually runs Psychic. So I think if you want to nerf Medicham a bit, I think Psychic is what you go for. How you go for it. The Owl, the Wing Attack buff kind of killed this meta, and the Owl's so strong because it's so bulky. But it's not just its bulk. It's the Sky Attack Shadow Ball. It's a Shadow Ball coverage in Sky Attack. So I don't think you can nerf Shadow Ball because there's so many other Pokemon that sort of rely on Shadow Ball, like Trevenant, Jellicent, Frostlass, Golbat, Lucario, Quailfish, Runnery, like your Cofagrigus. So you're starting to get to a lot of like secondary Pokemon that have play in the meta but aren't super strong, so you can't really nerf Weather Ball. I would personally nerf Sky Attack. The thing with that, one of the main issues is that you get to Sky Attack like 5, 6, 5 or something fast like that now. What would that do? You would nerf Altaria a bit. Altaria is pretty strong anyways, so that's not too bad. The next thing you'd hurt is like Skarmory. Skarmory is already kind of like gone in this meta. And then you're getting into like really niche stuff. So I think that Sky Attack, if you really want to nerf the Owl, I think Sky Attack is the way to go. And we're going to just go straight to Lanturn now. Spark is one of the best fast moves in this game. I wouldn't change Spark because it's in line with a lot of these other fast moves here. Let's see if I can just find it quickly on here. Okay, where it's high. Oh yeah, Spark. Here it is. So 4 damage at 8 energy per second, right? So like 1 more damage per second than Mudshot, but 1 slower on the charge, right? So it's not like a must-have sort of move. And Thunderbolt is. I don't think Thunderbolt is the problem. I think Surf is the problem. And Surf is a problem because like you get to it pretty quickly, like 5 sparks, but that's fine. It's the fact that Surf can like, you can land 2 Surfs on like a level 47 Sableye and take it out. And 2 Surfs on a Shadow Swampert and take it out. So Surf is the issue. So what happens if you nerf Surf? You would hurt Jellicent a bit, which Jellicent got the new move, so that's just kind of new with it. Tapu Fini, but Tapu Fini's like pretty still strong in the Ultra League. And then there's like some Politoads and stuff like that, you'd have to maybe give these others access to like other moves. So I see if you want to attack Lanturn, I think you have to go after Surf, in my opinion. I don't think you can just nerf Wing Attack back. Like, you could argue like Wing Attack has killed the Great League because it's not only the Owl, it's like Pelipper and Gliscor and Pidgeot, and then in Ultra League it's Pidgeot and Charizard, and so you could. I don't think they'd buff it and then nerf it back immediately. It just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. So there's that. So that is it for Great League. How you would attack those Pokemon to nerf them. What would you do with Ultra? So I don't think there's anything with Ultra League off the bat that I would do. Because again, I already talked on like Reggie and Reggie Rock with the lock on. You could nuke like Double Kick or Sacred Sword. I don't think they're overpowering, quite honestly. Shadow Claw is an interesting one because Trevenant and Giratina are so high up here and Sableye in the thing. Shadow Claw is kind of a really, really tough move. But again, with so many normal types, it just gets walled so easy. So you could nerf Shadow Claw to a certain extent, but it's not sort of a must for me. And there's nothing over here that is just like so overpowering in Ultra League. Ultra League has quite a lot of variability. So that's that. So now the next question is, what do we do about fast moves and charge moves? So fast moves, I don't want to cover too much. You have like a couple of these ones that we talked about, like maybe nerfing a bit, like Lock On, Mud Shot for the energy generation. Let's just go to energy generation here. Incinerate is such a long move, so that's fine. Same thing, Volt Switch, Snarl. I wouldn't mind a buff to Rollout, because this 13 energy per second, why is it not mirrored in Snarl and Bullet Seed, right? Bullet Seed, 5 power, 13 energy. Snarl, 5 power, 13 energy. Rollout, 4 power, 13 energy. Why would you not just make it a Bullet Seed and Snarl clone? Like, Rollout is such a bad move. I would buff this power up 1 there if I could. In terms of other fast moves, I don't think there's like the energy generation on, we talked about, like is a pretty fast on Mud Shot. You could nerf that, but again, it does have its effects. So other fast moves like Psycho Cut doesn't really do much, so I don't care about that too much. And the Claw, this is sort of like why people mention the Claws, because it's like 8 energy per second, which is quite fast, but also having that like 6 damage per second. So there's very, very few moves in here that actually has that, like, because even that Wing Attack buff only gives you like 5 attack and 8 energy, right? So the Claw is just like a really hard move. So I know why people want it down, but I don't think it's a must in my opinion. But let's talk about the poisons for a second, because let's go to what moves need to be buffed for charge moves. So in my opinion, there's this move set up top here. I think the majority of these move sets are fine. I think there's 2 charge moves on this list that I would like to see these groups buffed. The first is Bug, right? Not a lot of Bug on here. And just the damage per energy is just so bad across the board, right? Fell Stinger is just to bump your attack, but like X-Singer, Silver Wind, Lunge lowers the attack, but like Signal Beam, even Bug Buzz, like we're not getting above 2. Like, and we're quite low, like low 1.3 damage per energy. So they're just not hard hitting moves, and you really don't need to you need to worry about shielding many of these bug moves. Mega Horn is one that you do, but like again, it's very, very few for the Mega Horn, plus it's like a huge base energy in general to get there. So I think Bug is one that needs a buff. The other one that needs a buff in my opinion is Poison. For the same sort of thing, you have even like these harder hitting sort of booms of moves have quite low damage per energy, 1.69, 1.73, right? And then for the most part, most of these poison moves are just kind of hanging out in like the 1.3 damage per energy range. So it's quite a bad move set. Oh, I've still got Bug on. That's why. but you don't have anything above 2, right? Even Gunk Shot is a nuke, but it's still 1.73. Sludge Wave is, again, good move, but it doesn't truly threaten. I would like to see, and ever since they nerfed the Poison Fang, like poison just kind of like gone away. When you use like a poison, it's mostly like a poison dark Ultra League, right? So it's not even, poison dark for like Skunk Tank and Drapion, stuff like that. So it's not even so much that you're using it for the poison, it's using it mostly for the dark, right? So I would like to see those two buffed. In terms of moves here, I'm just gonna go quickly through the damage per energy. I don't mind these like big energy, big damage. I mean, it's not big energy, but like smaller energy, big damage. It's because like Brave Bird Overheat, they like Draco Meteor, they either lower your defense or attack or something like that, right? So I don't hate that. Blast Burn. Charizard kind of seems broken right now in a couple leagues. And if you're not going to nerf Wing Attack, you might want to bring Blast Burn down a little bit. Because Blast Burn has just been like too strong in most of these metas here. So that is one thing that I would do. And then let's see what else we got on this list. Precipice Blades. Yeah, I was about to say, it's a better version of Earthquake right now, but I'm not like seeing anything that's like super overpowering with it right now. But I'm still just kind of new to it. Psycho Boost, Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is one where they have, it's such a hard hitting move. If you're not going to nerf Mudshot, you should probably nerf Hydro Cannon, because Hydro Cannon, I'm just trying to think, because like you do have like Swamperts, which is like OP, but then you have like a lot of other Pokemon. If you go here for like, let's just do Ultra League, because it's like Samurott, Blastoise, Empoleon, so it would kind of limit some of your ability there. So you can nerf it to a little bit, but it's not like you can't nerf it to the ground, because those Pokemon are already sort of niche at best. Just seeing if there's any other move on here that I just like always is just like, oh, I hate this move, it needs to be nerfed. And for me, it's not really. I think that most of these have a good sort of energy to damage breakdown here. And consistency, right? You have like energy and damage per second, like very consistent in the Shadow Ball, Stone Edge, Aurora Sphere area. Where are the punches here? Where are you punches? Because the punches are what I think need to be buffed. Here's Ice Punch. Yeah, here are the punches. So not a lot of energy, 40 energy, but this damage per energy is very, very, very bad. 1.38. Fire Punch, Ice Punch. Where's the Thunder? I'm sure Thunder Punch is around here. There it is, Thunder Punch. Right above, Thunder Punch. So with these other moves, like Icy Wind will lower your attack. Ancient Power has a chance to buff your attack. It just seems like the punches are a way to answer the like flying meta, Charizard, the Owl with the wing attack buff, without like making too many overall changes. And if you go to like Great League, so if you go like, let's go Thunder Punch, there's not a ton of Pokemon running it right now. You got like the Hitmonchans that can know like Ice Punch, Raichu that knows Thunder Punch. I wonder if I want Ice Punch. Sandslash that knows Ice Punch. Can I just do Punch? Because that will maybe give all of them. No. So I do think that the punches are probably something that needs to be buffed to do that. The poisons I already said, like cross poison, stuff like that. Like we need a buff to that there. And look at that, like Sludge is down here. It's such a bad move. Like it's on like, I think Sludge has a chance to be used more on like Galarian Weezing, but it's just such a bad move. Like 1.25 damage per energy is so bad. Aerial Ace, like if you want to buff it, if you want to buff a flying move, make it Aerial Ace. It's one of the worst moves in the game. Yeah, we're getting pretty low to the damage per energy now, but I think a lot of these are now probably just like, yeah, buffs or like lowering your opponent's, buffing your defense and lowering their attack and stuff like that, which is what you expect down here. So it's all these sort of like middle moves that need to be better. Like you can buff bulldoze or give more high horsepower. You got a lot of these, like, again, you can't just do one thing here, right? Because I'm looking at Night Slash. I'm like, Night Slash probably could use a little bump, but then it's like, it's consistent, right? It's consistent with Dragon Claw, it's consistent with Cross Poison, it's consistent with Cross Chop, it's consistent with Aqua Tail. 35 energy for the same damage per energy, right? So you can't just like, I mean you can, but you probably want to keep these all consistent, which is probably why they're clones of each other. So you might want to just, you can't just like buff them all or buff none of them. Weather balls are interesting because the weather balls would make something like, it's interesting though, because you have Pelipper, and if you buff the weather ball, it is really going to dominate. Like Pelipper with buffed wing attack and a buff weather ball is going to run wild mostly, and it wouldn't change your Lanturn meta. But buffing weather ball would help Ninetales, it would help Abomasnow, it would help like Politoed and Ninetales and stuff like that. So I wouldn't mind, they nerfed weather ball, they've nerfed weather ball in the past. I wouldn't mind a rebuff to those. But that is basically it. So there's a lot of potential here. Again, my worst case scenario is they're just going to say the Play Pokemon Championship is in August. We're not going to change. People have already qualified with this meta. We're not going to change it going into the finals. That's my worry. It's a cop-out. I think they're probably going to do it again, or just have like the most minimal changes. I don't think they're going to totally revamp the meta. And like I said, you either nerf directly the Pokemon, which I gave you ideas, Lock On, Mudshot, Hydro Cannon, Surf, I would nerf, Sky Attack, I would nerf, or you start buffing these other things. And I think you need to buff sort of those either Poison, Bug, or these like mid-range, sort of lower energy, lower damage per energy moves to help the meta. But anyways, that is it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, what you would like to see nerfed or buffed. And that's it. So I appreciate watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.